Nathan gets active, okay? He ain't no punk. I want it for free. Legally. I play all the parts. I'm gonna play the man, I'm gonna play the dog, I'm gonna play the girl, I'm gonna play everybody. Shut it down. Thumb in the crack. Hey, welcome back to my channel. I honestly can't tell you the last time I did just a regular reading vlog. No themed reading vlog, no author taste test, no color wheel choosing my books, nothing of that sort, just a regular weekend reading vlog. So that's what we're doing today. So I actually went to the library yesterday. The problem is when I go to the library and get books, I always have books left over from the last library trip. 9 times out of 10, I've probably already renewed those twice. I haven't done a video like this in a while because I really don't read that much on the weekend, to be honest, like Saturday, Sunday. Today is Saturday. I did not film anything for Friday. I'm starting it today, February 15th. My weekend for this video is going to be today, tomorrow, which is Sunday, and Monday, which is the 17th, because I'm actually off from work. I tend to read more during the week, I guess because I'm at work for majority of the day. I have a lunch break, I have 2 15-minute breaks, and then it's like by the time I get home, because I've been gone the whole day, I actually do want to sit down and read, whereas on the weekend, I have all the time in the world, and I just don't do it. But because I really need to finish the books that need to go to the library like pronto, because I've already renewed them twice, so I'm starting off with My Darkest Prayer. So I do have an audiobook of this. I did read 30 pages yesterday, which was Friday. I read a little bit this morning, so I'm on chapter 10, page 55. This is by S.A. Cosby. I think he for sure is one of my favorite authors. This is my 3rd book of his. Actually, the 2 books that I have read are featured at the beginning where it says also by him. There's Blacktop Wasteland and Razorblade Tears. Blacktop Wasteland, it was my 2nd book of January and I enjoyed it. I read Razorblade Tears last year. I think after this book I have 2 more books. One that's maybe came out last year, and I think he has one coming out this year. The problem with this book is that there is no audiobook from my library, and I'm not buying an audiobook. I don't have Audible. I do have Libro FM, but that's also a subscription, I think. I want it for free, legally, right? So I'm waiting for my library to get it. In the meantime, I have been reading it physically. So I have Oye, or Oye, I think it's Oye. This, I believe, is Colombian. This is a coming of age comedy. The problem is it's told in a phone call and it's one-sided. So our main character, Luciana, every chapter is calling her sister, I think her name is Maria, and telling her what's happening. What's interesting is we're not getting what Maria is saying back. We're inferring based on what Luciana is responding. I am 62 pages into this. I haven't picked it up in a while. And then I'm only going to show y'all the other 3 books that are my old library books. Those are my new ones that I just got yesterday. So I'm not showing those because those are very fresh and those are not my priority right now. These 2 books were supposed to be in a video. I might still do one. I don't know. It depends on how this video goes because this is only supposed to be a weekend reading vlog for 3 days. Big Chicas Don't Cry and This Could Be Us. I have both audiobooks for these. I think my library has the audiobook for both, specifically this one. This one, on the other hand, it is on KU and there's an audiobook along with it, so that's how I was planning on listening to it if I need to. The last book, I do not have the audiobook yet. Again, I have to wait for my library to get it. I don't know how long that's gonna take because it's already been a while, but I have Night Crawling. So those are my options for this weekend. My main priority is to finish reading this one. I mean, I just started it yesterday. It's short, but I'm also really enjoying it. And just to get through some more of this. This is probably going to take me a while, to be honest, even though it's told in a phone call. We are running errands today. I do have the audiobook, but typically when I listen to the audiobooks, it's at work. When we're driving on the road, I prefer to listen to music, but we'll see what happens. I'm not even gonna pretend I haven't read diddly squat since we've been out. It's 2:05. This is our last stop. I got me some din din, well, lunch, El Pollo Loco. Okay, I'm gonna be quiet. Let me know down in the comments how y'all like to read your books physically, if it's a paperback. Thumb in the crack, or y'all flip. I do both. Okay. A bedraggled white man. What does that mean? I'm gonna have to look that up. His teeth were so far apart, he should have had a sign on his gums that said, "Next tooth, 1 mile." Gotta love the country. S.A. Cosby, I don't know what he be doing in these books sometimes, y'all. That's like the 5th out-of-pocket thing I've read so far in this book. And I'm only on page 55. A tall, gangly white man. Who's Ray Carpenter? Bucktooth with... Why is he coming for all these characters? Now, this is someone that he went to school with. A bucktooth with dry, dead blonde hair. Ray certainly looked the part of a white trash troublemaker. I was a bully's wet dream. I'm just reading... I might as well read y'all the book. Oh, so quickly what this is about. We have Nathan, and Nathan works with bodies. When he was in the military, he worked with dead bodies as well, and since he's been out, he does the same thing. He works for a funeral home. There's a preacher, a minister, a local minister that's found dead, and there's specifically 2 parishioners that go to the funeral home, and they specifically seek out Nathan because they know that Nathan does stuff on the low, stuff that the cops aren't gonna do, right? Because this is a small town, these people are black, it's majority probably white people for a good portion in power, so they ain't gonna do squat. So they go to him so that he can go to the sheriff and just ask, because so far they're saying that this minister committed suicide, but the guy who works at the funeral home that like views the bodies and stuff, he's also said it wasn't suicide. Like, unless he specifically said unless he used a selfie stick to, you know, pow himself, it was not suicide. They wanted him to just ask questions to the sheriff. He went. I've already passed that part. They ain't gonna do squat. So I'm assuming now he's gonna take it upon himself. He's gonna find what happened himself. There's another character in here that I can't wait till we meet again. And it's the minister's daughter named Lisa. She's, I guess, about 2 years older. When he was a junior in school, she was a freshman, and they had the same class. He recognized her. She didn't seem to recognize him. I think she does. We haven't met her again. She's a porn star, by the way, so I'm curious if that has something to do with this. Normally, when I read these books, I don't really imagine any specific person. I play all the parts. I'm gonna play the man, I'm gonna play the dog, I'm gonna play the girl, I'm gonna play everybody. But sometimes there are few instances where I do have a person in mind. When I read Honey and Spice, I imagined Kiki as India from Love Island, the UK one. I don't know what season she was on. I didn't watch her season, but I do know of her because I watched season 10 of Love Island, the one with Whitney and Lockett and Catherine and Tyreek, something like that. And Ella, shut it down. That season. This guy, Nathan, is biracial. I think maybe black mom, white dad. I keep imagining him for some reason as Shemar Moore. I have no clue if Shemar Moore is biracial or not. I think he is. I don't know. But for some reason, I keep imagining Shemar Moore as Nathan because I'm not imagining Nathan as super like big, but like he can do some damage. And I kind of think of Shemar Moore as this in the same fashion. There was a scene where Nathan gets active, okay? He ain't no punk. And if you've seen Shemar in a bunch of different things, SWAT, Criminal Minds, you know he gets down. His characters at least gets down. Yeah, I just want to say that. Oh, Jesus! You scared me!
Much later. 3:28 a.m. The next day.
It is Sunday, February 16th. It is 10:30 a.m. ish. I am going to do my hair. Just wanted to give a little update. So yesterday I read until page 100, literally chapter 14. I did end up listening to some of the audiobook towards the end of the night. I was up till 3 something a.m. personal reasons. So this morning I was totally out of it, but I'm not surprised that I woke up at 7 something. Technically 7 something, but I didn't pick up the camera until about 8. So I was still in a bad mood. That's why I look like that. First of all, I got up anyway to get the camera, so don't beat me up. I did listen to some this morning, and now I went from chapter 14, page 100, to chapter 18, page 149. So I have a little less than half left. I'm probably, if I calculate this is probably 52% or something. I'm going to do my hair, and this is the week that I deep condition. I'm going to be sitting under my steamer. I've been recording so much, honestly. This might be it until I probably hopefully finish this book at a reasonable time. It's been a while. I don't know if y'all have ever noticed this, but sometimes I can be very loud, and I laugh about this all the time, and sometimes I sound like this. I hope y'all know that means that I'm not by myself. I don't know why, but I get so shy filming and just thinking that they can hear me. And it's like it feels like I'm talking loud right now, but I know I can be louder. I don't know how that happens. I don't know how to fix it. It is Monday, February 17th. I was off from work today. I said that. So yesterday, I brought my bag in here. So yesterday I did finish reading My Darkest Prayer. I actually ended up finishing it at 6:03 p.m. I really enjoyed this. I feel like every S.A. Cosby book that I read, it smells in here. Every single book of his that I read, it's like they keep getting better and better. I'm assuming, maybe it's the book? Ugh, I don't like that smell. I'm assuming this might be the order of his works. It says Blacktop Wasteland, then Razorblade Tears, and then there's this book, which I'm assuming could be his third book. I read it, Razorblade Tears, Blacktop Wasteland, and then I've read this one. My least favorite is probably Razorblade Tears, just because it's the oldest book that I've read of his, and I think I read it either a year ago or a year and a half ago, and I don't really remember that much about it. I do remember liking it, like giving it a 4-star or a 4.25. I think now for some reason I'm starting to have a clear memory when I'm reading. That sounds really weird, but I'm not the best at remembering what I read, and I find now, I don't know why, I just am. So I definitely remember a lot more of Blacktop Wasteland, and I remember a lot of this. I think a lot of times me liking a book has less to do with actually enjoying it and more to do with how much I remember about the book. I would definitely say out of those three, this one is my favorite. I would give this in between a 4 and a 5-star. I wouldn't give it a 5-star though. But you guys know that I'm changing the way that I rate books, and I'm more so giving it a range. However, if you follow me on my Instagram stories, I am still giving it a specific rating. And if you follow me on Storygraph, I'm also doing the same thing. I did end up starting This Could Be Us. So I think at the beginning of this video, I mentioned 3 other books. This one, Big Chicas Don't Cry, and Nightcrawling. I said that I had an audiobook of this one and Big Chicas Don't Cry. Oh, and I also mentioned Oi. I haven't touched that one at all. But guess what? I did actually get the audiobook for Nightcrawling. After I finished My Darkest Prayer, I was like, okay, I need another book because I was doing laundry. So I was like, well, let me listen to something. I went ahead and started reading this one instead because I felt like, yes, it might have some heavy content. All of them might have some heavy content, but I thought Nightcrawling would be on the very heavy side. And it's like, I just read this And I feel like S.A. Cosby, his stuff isn't necessarily dark, but I feel like the types of detail and the gory details, I feel like he really straddles that line. But it's not super dark, but I still felt like out of those three that I was choosing from, Nightcrawling would be very much on the heavy side. Big Chicas Don't Cry just didn't feel like it had a romance in it, and I really wanted that. So I went ahead and started this one. I think I listened to the first 80 pages yesterday, and today I've done a little bit of both. When we ran some errands, I listened to a little bit. Yeah, 80 pages yesterday. Right now, I'm trying to finish it today, to be honest. I am on page 222, 223, chapter 20. I just started chapter 28. I am absolutely loving this book. I believe this is my 5th book by Kennedy Ryan, and hear me out. Out of the 4 books that I have read, I found it so strange that I don't really have a favorite book of hers, right? So I've read, with the exception of Christina Forrest's new book that just came out in February, out of the 5 books of hers that I read, or 4 books, I actually have a favorite. Out of all of the books of Danielle Allen's, I have a favorite. Out of all of the books of CCJ that I've read, I have a favorite. Even though I've enjoyed most of Kennedy Ryan's works that I've read, with the exception of the one that we're not going to name, if you know, you know, I don't have a favorite. I loved Real. I loved Before I Let Go. I even loved Long Shot, but I couldn't really pick like that book. You know what I mean? Until I started this one. Which is strange because I remember seeing people upset that this was in the romance category for the Goodreads Awards because they didn't think it was a romance. It was more so women's fiction. I can agree because I've read, you know, a good portion of this. I do agree that this is more so women's fiction. I don't necessarily think that this is a romance. It has a romance in it, but other topics are being discussed. Personally, I don't mind it. I trust Kennedy Ryan enough. I'm not new to her work, so I know what to expect. And I know that even though she does write romances, her romances always have a little more of something else versus the romance. I am absolutely loving what I'm reading. This is the 2nd book in the series with Before I Let Go. I don't know, maybe Skylander or something. I don't remember what the actual series is called, but this is the 2nd book. This is following Soledad, who is married at the beginning of this book. However, I will tell you, this is not a romance between her and her husband. There's no cheating involved, at least not on her part at the time, okay? I don't want to get too much into it, but she is betrayed by someone at the beginning. And I remember when I read this, I was like, because it's not specified exactly what happened in the synopsis, and I reread the synopsis like twice or 3 times because I thought I missed something. So I'm not gonna say what happened. I was shook, okay? So anyway, so something happens and it's just something that she's having to deal with, and that's that part that we're focusing more of in this book besides the romance. This also does take place in parts, so I am currently on part 2. I don't know how many parts there are. Maybe 3 parts or maybe just 2, and maybe that first part is us kind of being introduced to the situation at hand. However, she does meet Judah Cross. Now, Judah Cross is someone that is working at her husband's company. I don't want to say too much, but they do meet, and this is a romance between her and him, and I absolutely love them. Now, where I'm at, I think they actually just kind of got together. Now, here's the thing. Kennedy Ryan reminds me of Danielle Allen because to me, they both do a great job at writing the most annoying and frustrating characters. How are they thinking about this? But one thing that Kennedy Ryan does that grinds my gears, but like it's entertaining, but not really, the way she writes these tough relationships between one of the kids and a parent. Because one thing that this does have in common with Before I Let Go is this estranged like relationship between the 2 parents. So I think in the first book it was Josiah and Yasmin, and in this one it is Soledad and Edward. I think his name is Edward. And it also trickles down, right, and affects the kids. And so if you guys remember in the first book, Deja was chewing her mom out, calling her out her name and everything. right? Even Josiah, you know, had to tell her. And what's so crazy is I ended up loving Before I Let Go, but it was such a struggle to get through the first like 80 to 100 pages because we saw so much of that beef, I don't even know what to call it, between Deja and, you know, like this hatred that she had for her mom at the time for breaking up the family. And I took a long break, and we're sort of seeing the same thing in here. So Soledad and Edward have 3 daughters, Lupe, Inez, and someone else. But Inez is the one that's giving me, I even posted on my stories, on my Instagram stories, she's giving me Deja 2.0 vibes. What I will say, I don't think she's as bad as Deja from the first book. Maybe it's because the difference in situations, meaning the difference in why the 2 parents aren't together. I think we're getting a little better. There weren't that many moments. Then you have Judah. Now Judah is also a parent. He's technically a single parent, even though he does co-parent, and it seems like he does have a good relationship with his ex, Tremaine. Her name is Tremaine. They have 2 kids who are both autistic, and I'm saying autistic because I know that Kennedy Ryan does discuss it at the very beginning of the book. She has some kind of note, and I'm just gonna read what it says. It says, many things in the autism community become hotly debated, even how those on the spectrum should be addressed, specifically someone having autism versus being autistic. I have chosen to use autistic for this story, and I respect those who choose otherwise. So that's why I'm using autistic. That's what she's using. That's what I'm gonna use. He has 2 twin boys who are autistic, Adam and Aaron. First of all, I love kids in books. Kids and old people. That's typically, if I had to choose between them, I would say old people. Because they have no filter. I think they're both maybe 15, 14, 15. I want to say 15 though. And we get this moment, especially in part 1. Soledad does meet one of the twins. She doesn't know at the time that's one of his sons, but they share this moment together, and it was just so cute. They have had another moment, but that's kind of been it. I'm gonna try and finish it today. It is time to close out the video. It has been 3 full days since Monday, and this video technically ended on Monday. Guess what? I filmed the last clip, this clip, yesterday when I got back from work. It's freezing outside. I think it's 26 degrees. My nose was just running. I could tell, and I was wiping it, but it was lower than that. So all of this was wet. Like, you could tell it was wet. So I can't use the clip. So I did end up finishing there. And you know, I mentioned that in that clip, I can never remember the name of the book. There she goes. This Could Be Us. I think it's This Could Be Us. The books are back. Her, because I have to return my books today because they're due. What is that? Some of them are due tomorrow. So yeah, I ended up finishing like I wanted to the rest of the book on Monday. I'm not gonna lie, I have found my Kennedy Ryan book. The crazy thing is, I still gave it a 4.75, which is the same rating as every other book of hers that I've read, with the exception of the one that I hate. But there's just something about this one that I loved more. I just couldn't give it a 5. But I told someone else 4.75s are my 5s, if that makes sense. And I know a book is good when they have me second guessing whether or not to give it a 5, but I also don't care. I mean, a 4.75, a 5, same thing, you know? I'm just able to put that specific rating on Storygraph. Not too shabby with reading this weekend. Technically, Monday acted as my Sunday. I hope that I continue to read on the weekends. I normally don't read that much anyway. I liked incorporating the audiobooks instead of just listening to them at work. I'm very glad that I ended up going with This Could Be Us, because Night Crawling is just as heavy as I thought. Actually, a little heavier. This is the last library book that I need to read, with the exception of Oi. I'm DNFing it. Honestly, I don't think the phone call format is working for me, and I'm just not interested. I haven't picked it up since I started it, which I believe was a week ago. I did read Big Chicas Don't Cry. I think I gave it a 4.5. It was one of those books that took a turn, meaning I didn't guess one of the ships right, which is insane. It's surrounding 4 cousins. 2 cousins are sisters. So one cousin's story was not being in a great marriage. The other cousin's story was working with someone that she had gone to school with. And she had some beef with that person. The person didn't know they had beef. The other cousin didn't like her boss. The other cousin also didn't like their boss, but more like racist undertones. You know what I mean? The other boss was a woman. And now that I say all of that out loud, there were actually 2 people whose ending for their story I just did not see coming, which I should have seen it coming because of the setup, but I didn't. I like that she did that. You know, she didn't go in I'm not going to say she didn't go in a happy ever after ending, because I mean, she kind of did, because the whole plot, yeah, they had individual stories, but it was also them as a unit, as a family and a cousin unit coming back together. But anyway, I'm not supposed to be talking about these other books. I went ahead and started Nightcrawling. This is the last one that I have to read. Y'all, it's even heavier than I was expecting. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about this one. I'm going to continue reading it. This is not going to be in a video. I mean, I'm almost done anyway. But yeah, that's it for today's video. Comment down below the emoji you hate the most. I don't know if I have one. I'm scared to see what y'all got. Bye!